I'm turning 40 in 55 days, and somehow I still don't feel like I'm a real adult with a proper figured out life. And I don't know if you're a millennial and you can also resonate with this, but somehow at this stage of my life, I thought that I would have more certainty, more groundedness in, where my life is heading and then what I'm planning to do for the next decade. And at this point in time, it is not. At this point in time, I'm still figuring things out, still building, still creating and improving different areas of my life. And somehow my brain is a little bit disturbed by that. I've heard recently a little bit of, voices up there saying you're probably running out of time and maybe you're a little bit behind compared to what you wanted when you were younger. And this is basically me today processing this in real time because I feel that this mindset is kind of, stealing a little bit of joy from me, and I really don't want to be carrying my next decade thinking that I'm behind, that I'm late, or that I'm not really somebody who has figured out life. So this is me processing in real time because one thing that surprised me when I started hearing these voices is that I've never been somebody who really wanted to settle. Like, I've never had this vision of, oh, by 40, I'm going to be married with kids and living in this specific place with that specific career and that specific amount of money. But sometimes, particularly right now, because I'm currently in a transition phase, I had to look honestly at my life and look at what is happening there. And at a specific point in time, when I'm recording this video, I've been unemployed for 2 months right now. I'm trying to figure out my next career step in a company, and I'm really struggling because I've done so many little things in my life that could all be combined differently because I'm a generalist, and there are many things I could do in the next career that I'm still in the blurry zone where I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, and I'm also tiptoeing with maybe I start a business again, maybe not. And because of previous career choices, my finances are also a little bit low. That means that I'm living in London and I have to share an apartment with multiple people, which at 40, I'm like thinking that is not exactly the quality of life that I would have dreamed for myself. Like, if I was going back saying to my 20 years old self, at 40 you will be unemployed, living with flatmates and not sure yet where you're going with your career, I think I don't know if that version of me would have been disappointed in me or would have been like, what's the point? What's the point of working hard if that's where we are going to end up at 40? So there are a little bit of voices like this in my head that maybe you can resonate with. Sometimes, the brain is like freaking out a little bit of where we are in life, particularly in transition periods. And in this moment, this is how currently I'm dealing with it. Not perfect, but this is how I'm trying to remind my brain that it's okay, that I can survive, that I will figure it out. And the first thing that I do is really remind myself that I should not be comparing myself to anybody else. Because, we have this idea in society at 40 years old, there is some kind of like, fake pressure of social peers or like, some kind of timeline where we think 40 is like, you're already quite advanced in your career, so you should already be in a good place. And I've realized that this is a mindset that, I don't know, somehow part of my brain believes that. But on the other hand, I also know that nobody that I really look up to, any role models that I have done this. Like, my role models are all people who are continuously building their life, continuously reinventing themselves, continuously building new businesses or, switching places and things like that. So basically, my role models are people who are constantly living in uncertainty with nothing figured out, or at least the capacity to, figure out something and then stay in this phase for a while and then go and do something completely different. And yeah, there is a bit of like, contrast between what my brain is thinking that maybe you're a little bit late or maybe you are behind. Because actually, I'm like, no, I'm doing exactly the same thing that what the people that I really believe are the people living their best life are doing. So why am I thinking about it like this? It's a kind of really strange because I'm a builder, I'm a creator, I'm a dreamer, I'm somebody who is who is never going to be done with life in any way. So this is something that I just kind of remind myself when my brain is doing this. It's like, brain, this is not what we are aiming for anyway. So maybe just something like this. And it's also about spending more time with people who are like this, and having conversation with these people, because I feel sometimes we believe that people have everything figured out. Even, some entrepreneurs I'm friends with, I feel like, oh, they are ahead of me. Maybe they started 1 year before, but if I look where they have been, they are more successful. They've been able to build sustainable businesses, which I did not manage to achieve. And when I talk to them, they are like, oh, you know what, I'm considering moving to another country, and I don't know where to go. I feel I have to restart everything. And if I move, I'm going to have to restart my relationships, my friendships, and finding my network again. And it's like, even these people who you think have it figured out actually are still still moving, or still unsure about some things in their life. And always being around builders in general, I think it's a very different lifestyle than what most people would expect, particularly if I look at the people in my family or the people I went to school with when I was in high school. I'm probably a weirdo. I'm probably somebody who is doing things way differently than they are. And I think it's a choice of lifestyle. And sometimes when you choose this type of lifestyle, then it comes, with consequences and different fluidity of life and different evolution. And it's important to always remember that, don't compare yourself to people whose life you would not want to live, because otherwise you just like you're comparing yourself with the wrong metrics there. So this is the first thing I do, making sure that comparison stay away, or that at least I'm comparing myself to the right people and to the people who are my role models. And just stay around people who are also figuring it out all the time. Makes it a little bit more acceptable for yourself to be in this phase of building and creating as well, and sometimes failing. And the other thing that I'm doing is, sometimes I try to step in the shoes of my future self and slap myself in the face. Because when I hear myself, say that I'm behind, and I should be further away, and then that I should have figured out things earlier, I somehow find it disrespectful for the old version of me, the version of me who, for the past 10 years, I've worked so hard and tried different things and learned so much and had good experiences as well. I feel if I'm kind of saying you are too late, I'm kind of disrespecting that whole version of me, and it's something that I try not to do, because I feel like in terms of self-worth and confidence, never just never regret anything, never disconnect from your past, because your past is what brought you here today, is what has helped you already learn so much. I think this is something that I try to not forget. The more you learn, the more it compounds, and the more it's going to lead you to a better direction faster. And it's this idea of, like, if I think from a future self perspective, that future self has already a different story. That future self knows what's coming next, and that future self will be telling me, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yes, it took you so much time to get there, but you know what? If you hadn't been doing these steps, you would not have been able to take this opportunity, or take this risk, or take this decision, and you would never end up there where we are right now, where we have so much joy and so much better things in our life. So what are you talking about? You are not late, you're just on the way, and you don't see the full picture yet. This is also something I remember, is that I'm looking at my life at a specific chapter. Right now, I'm unemployed, living with flatmates, and not good financially. But this is just like a tiny chapter in my entire life story. Like, I can't see the entire book. It's like when you're reading a mystery book, and you think, oh yeah, I figured out who is the one who killed them. And actually you keep reading and it's somebody else. And you thought that you had figured it out at this specific moment, because you were, you were basing your impression on just the data you had in front of you, but you were missing a big part of the story that came later. And when that whole story is finished, it's a whole different vibe. So this is something that's also to try to remember, that whatever I'm doing right now is compounding. Like, even if I have difficult experiences or lessons that are hard to take, they are building me into somebody else. Same thing for the skill that I'm practicing. Right now I'm doing daily YouTube videos. Who knows where it's going to lead me when I've done hundreds or 200s of them. I will be a different person for sure. And maybe right now it feels like I'm not yet figuring it out, but at least I'm in the process, and I'm compounding the steps. And yeah, that's something to always remember. Like, try not to disappoint your past self, but try also to not just focus on what you see in the present, and try to think a little bit broader, because you don't have all the information yet. That gives me some hope, and some some yes some more detachment towards timelines that maybe I've set in my head, or things that are a little bit invisible or up there, that somehow my brain thinks I should have already achieved, and just giving it a little bit more time, or like just trusting that they will happen without me having to force anything, or to try to rush into these things. And it's also, coming from recently, I was watching a podcast where they were talking about when do people actually succeed in entrepreneurship, and they were saying actually the best, most successful entrepreneurs are the ones who are like 42 to 45 years old, and they've already failed one or two business before, and their third business is the one that is taking off. And when I listen to this type of stories, it really gives me hope, because it's like, I'm not late. I'm only 40. What do you mean? I still have 2 or 5 years to figure out the right idea and get things going. And it also yeah, it also really like values the failure, and maybe like the timeline that takes a little bit longer beforehand, but then you actually get the reward. So that's also an important part of, sometimes you have seasons where you are just learning, where you are just failing, where you are building clarity and skills. And in these seasons, maybe you are not doing what you like to do in life. Maybe you are not living the best lifestyle that you can. Maybe you have to be very careful with your finances. And all these moments of maybe like you feel that you are like you're not operating at your best or something like that because you're not seeing the result around you, does not mean that it's not preparing you for the better seasons where you're going to get the rewards, where you're just going to be finally enjoying that. And I feel it's like trying to assess where you are. Are you in a season of growth, in a season of like planting seeds and trying different things and failing? Because in that case, yes, it's normal if you feel that you're a little bit behind because you might not see the result yet, but know that they are coming, and just know that there will be another season where it's a little bit more certain, where it's a bit more more determined because you would have done the work before. So this is like, my second thing is like, don't forget that things are compounding. Don't forget that whatever you've done so far and whatever you're doing right now might lead you to a better season in the future, and just hang on to that idea in a stronger way when the brain starts freaking out about invented timelines at the end of the day. And then the other thing that I try to refocus my brain on when this happens is really what I have to do next. So basically focusing on taking actions, focusing on making sure that I'm still consistent, that I'm still taking steps, that I'm taking sometimes to also reflect, because it's nice to be consistent and taking steps and actions, but if they keep going in the wrong direction, that's not going to help. So it's having this action plus a bit of clarity here and there to make sure that I review progress, and really just focusing on that, because that's something that I can control. I can control steps I'm taking. I can control my habits. I can control the people I talk to find a job, for instance. I can do all these things, and this will compound as well. And also trying to think in a bit more, how to say that, shorter term. Like, for instance, I don't have my whole career figured out. Okay, but I'm just going to figure out the next role. I don't have all my finances figured out. Okay, but I'm going to figure out how I can save a little bit more next month. Bringing these type of things to a level where it's actually manageable and less overwhelming. It's also easier for my brain, I found, to not start making stories about how late I am or how behind I am. It's just like, no, I'm in the process. Look, I'm in the process, and every single month it's improving. So see, there is a proof there. And also trying to really prioritize which areas of my life I do this, because I don't think that you can always improve everything at the same time. So right now for me, it's like the job search is a priority, because it really helps. It will help with the finances as well, and figuring out the next career steps. But it's also, mental health. That's the second one. If I can combine both, if I can do a job search and still be in a good mental health, that's really going to help each other. And that means I can be in a good shape when I start a new role, and then I have more energy to also start creating a business on the side, etc., etc. So there is a positive effect altogether. And I found that this, really focusing on what can I do actually, what is under my control, is also helpful to not go too deep into like, oof, I have all these things in my life not yet done, and I need to really figure out everything at the same time, and it needs to happen in the next 54 days, because otherwise I will be a failure at 40. And all of this pressure, it's really just self-imposed pressure and fake timelines that you also need to challenge a little bit, and just focusing more on the progress rather than directly having the outcomes figured out in the next days. And also, thinking about that, I'm just thinking actually that, if I turn 40, most people retire at 65. If I ever retire, that means that I still have 25 years to go. And I started my career at 21. So that means I've only done 20 years. So I'm not even half of my career yet. So it's like, yeah, I still have time to figure things out. I still have time to actually change it again and again and again if I want to. But there is like, the time frame might still look like it's I'm getting way older, and it's starting to reach towards death a little bit. But actually there is still plenty of time, I mean, hopefully, that can still be compounded. And remembering as well that you're not coming from nowhere. Like, I'm way faster at learning, I'm way faster at bouncing back, I'm way faster at assessing what is a good idea, what is a good decision, what is not. And if I don't give myself credit for it, then I'm gonna keep going and keep thinking that I'm actually incapable or not as confident as I could be. But if I think, actually, you know what, I've already have all these things that I've already done. I'm old enough. I have already enough lessons that I can put towards moving faster. So maybe it took me a long time to get here and I'm still not where I want to be in some areas, but if I combine all the things that I already know about myself, about how to do things, about how to learn faster, I'm just right now, the 40s is just like, it's my power area, right? It's like when finally everything lines up and you can get things done. So for me, it's also like, embracing that next decade in a way that is more like, it's not like you are getting old and you're dying. It's like, no, you're just at the point where you have all the tools, the skills, and the confidence to actually go way faster in the next decade, and just reframing that. And yeah, sometimes I also let people tell me that I look younger than 40, because that also helps with my mental health and confidence. And that also gives me a boost of, you know what, yeah, you're right. I still look younger than 40, so maybe I can just pretend I'm still 30 for the next decade and see what happens. And that can also help my brain be in a good place. So yeah, these are like, random things I'm doing to help my brain process. So always making sure that I pay attention if I'm comparing myself to the wrong people, and spending more time around the right people who are doing what I want to do. Making sure that I always acknowledge how much I've already learned, not disrespecting my old self, and making sure that I'm using all of these confidence lessons and skills towards the next decade. And also making sure that always remember, like, my brain is going to create weird timelines that do not exist. They don't exist for other people, don't exist for me. They are just completely arbitrary, and I should pay attention about that and really more focus about what steps I'm taking, what actions I'm using, and how I'm progressing forward. This is the real measurement for whether or not I'm too late. So yeah, I think doing that is going to help me join the team of, I don't believe I'm too late. I believe there are still plenty of times. I believe that my 40s are going to be amazing and good things are coming because I worked so hard in my 30s. There is no way I have not learned something that is going to help me skyrocket my success and find the job that I want, and get the finances at the right level. So I'm just using this as fuel hope, I would say, to engage a little bit more with the process. And hopefully that's going to quiet the voices that I've heard a little bit more recently around, yeah, I'm not a grown-up yet, I'm not an adult, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Because I think I do. And I think if you are listening to this video, you probably do as well. I just want to give you a pep talk here, but trust yourself, trust that you can figure things out, and also trust that anyway, in life, we are never done figuring things out. I think until you are very, very old, you will still be figuring things, learning things, ending up in situations that you don't know yet how to handle because you never had these experiences before, and that you can build whatever you want with the consistency and yeah, just taking the step and believing in yourself. So that was it for today. If you are new to this channel, my name is Chloe, and I'm currently doing a 80 days video challenge where I post every single day until I turn 40, just to learn, just to review what I've been doing over the last decade, what I've learned, what I want to unlearn before I turn 40, and everything that I've made differently in terms of habits, in terms of mindset, anything that is helping me live my best life with as much freedom as I can. And yeah, if that's interesting for you, and if you're also building a life that would make your younger self very confused, stay on this channel. You can subscribe down below, and I see you tomorrow for another video.